Hey everybody, I'm Joe, and this is my wife Helen, and in the summer of 2024, we took a trip to Southern California. In this episode, we're climbing to the top of Strawberry Peak in Angeles National Forest, and then we're exploring Pasadena because climbing a mountain isn't enough for a day. Stay tuned. This morning, Helen and I woke up at 5:15 to go on a hike up to Strawberry Peak in the Angeles National Forest. It was very early, and we didn't have coffee-making facilities in the motel, so we set off to the Jack in the Box across the road to get some coffee. On Google Maps, it says that it was open 24 hours. Not true. Only the drive-thru is open 24 hours, so we got there, they waved us around, and then we queued up in the drive-thru on foot, not in a car, and then they didn't serve us. So then we had to get back to the 4Runner, drive across the street to the Jack in the Box, queue up, order, and then some lady started having an argument with the people inside, and they opened up the door and they let her in because they must have got her order wrong or something like that. Anyway, we eventually got onto the road. After some twisty-turnies, which Helen handled beautifully, we reached a small rest station with Los Angeles in view for the sunrise, where we drank our Jack in the Box coffees. I was extremely tired. Eventually, we got to the Red Box station parking lot, and I was just very thankful after those twisty-turnies, even though Helen did brilliantly. It was a beautiful parking spot, I have to admit. We noticed there were a couple of cautions for poison oak and the poodle dog bush, so we made sure to watch out for those, and we set off for our hike. Here's my fit check for today. I went with the pink Hawaiian shirt, the cargo shorts, the black trainers, and the white socks. Let's see if that works out. And off we go, towards Strawberry Peak. Strawberry Peak is a 6,165-foot elevation mountain. The total trail is 11.5 kilometers.
Lord knows I've been told many times before to take a hike, so no harm in once more, so off I go with Helen, who I adore. In 2 hours I'll be picking her up off the floor. Take a hike, that's what they told me, take a hike. Try and hug a tree, take a hike. I'm sure this is what they meant. Take a hike, I'm doing it for the content.
I've climbed to the top of a couple mountains before, but this is definitely the most beautiful one that I've seen, and doing it with Helen is all the more pleasant. We had some pretty steep drops and some slippery surfaces. We weren't wearing the right footwear really, but we only brought flip-flops and trainers in our luggage. We didn't bring hiking gear because this was the only hike we were going to do, and if I died on this trail, well, I just wasn't meant to make it. So we just kept on keeping on. We're so glad that we set off as early as we did because, you know, being in the shade was manageable and being in the sun was already hot during this heat wave in Los Angeles. There was some stunning scenery, as you can see.
We up in this bitch, taking a motherfucking haiku. H to the I to the K to the E. Don't be acting like you don't know what that is. If you wanna hike up to Strawberry Peak, then it's clearly adventure that you seek. Perhaps you're interested in toning your physique. I recommend then you hike it once per week. H to the I to the K to the E. First time in LA hiking Strawberry Peak. H to the I to the K to the E. Motherfuckers out here with awful technique. H to the I to the K to the E. Need to take a break, that shit is weak. H to the I to the K to the E. Hope you modify your style and improve your technique.
Here are some interesting rock formations and boulders. We could see Los Angeles in the distance, the very distant distance. As we got closer to the top, we had to take more and more breaks. I was doing fine, but we had a slacker with us. So, pretty good.
That last bit was hard. Nearly there.
We're not at that last bit yet. We were above the clouds now, and I was starting to get out of breath. On the entire hike, like 4 hours, we only saw 2 people. It's funny to think that in a place with more than 10 million people, that only 2 other people apart from us went on that hike that morning. And I understand that people have jobs, but in Los Angeles a lot of people don't have 9-to-5 jobs, so I still think it's pretty interesting that we were the only ones out there. It was a nice change from the constant humanity surrounding us on this trip. Helen is a pink person, so she was having trouble by the time we got to the top, and again, I was just fine. It was no big deal at all. I had my first hurdle when a rattlesnake bit me on my leg, but actually I sucked out the venom and spat it out, and I was fine. We got to this top, but oops, it wasn't actually the true top. False peak. Helen was gonna jump, but I stopped her by telling her that we were so close to the true peak. You just have to get to the top, Helen. I know that you're the downer between the two of us most of the time, but we have to both persevere and get out of this. And here we are, reaching the top of Strawberry Peak. Yay! There we go. Wasn't that hard, was it? That's me at the top of Strawberry Peak. There's both of us at the top of Strawberry Peak. That was rated a 1 on the 1 to 10 scale of difficulty.
With 1 being?
The easiest.
No.
Yeah. Here's Helen at the top of Strawberry Peak. There's Los Angeles at the top of Strawberry Peak. There's our note for the top of Strawberry Peak. And there's us descending from the top of Strawberry Peak.
getting me the hell down from the top of this mountain. My water's all used up, I need a fountain. Thank you, Strawberry Peak, you've been astounding, but at this time I'm craving steadier grounding.
We got to see the mountainsides more illuminated, and it was now scorching hot on the descent. This is when we saw the second person of the day, and they were wearing a black t-shirt, and they were heading up. We were just a bit flabbergasted. I'm so glad that I got my hat, not because it helped me on my hike, but because of how iconic it made me look. Look at that style icon. I thought the 4Runner parked here was just the perfect advertisement, so Toyota, if you want to hook us up, that would be cool. I'll, sing your praises. I'll pretty much say anything. I'm not married to the truth either, so you can just have me say anything in exchange for money, or a vehicle, or even merchandise, really. Then we went back to the motel and we showered away that hike.
Looking fresh after our hike.
And set off to have Thai food at a restaurant that Helen has been waiting to go to since reading Jonathan Gold's review of the place and seeing it in the documentary City of Gold, Jitlada. We're big Thai food fans, and this did not disappoint. Helen had the black pepper ribs. I had the classic green curry with rice. Then we left Thai Town in Hollywood and carried on to Pasadena. We visited a special house in our hearts, the Father of the Bride house. Does anyone remember this house from Father of the Bride? Eugene Levy is trying to buy it from them so he can knock it down and build an even bigger house. This is a massive house. I don't know why you'd need a bigger house. It's really beautiful. It's probably the most beautiful house on the street, really. So, that was fun. Pasadena is such a nice neighborhood, or maybe a city. We decided to walk down the main street, Colorado. We went into West Elm. We went vintage shopping, and we eventually reached a retro arcade. $15 for an hour each person. Unlimited games. If you're into retro games, it's good. My favorite are the actual physical games. The basketball game where you push the basketball and it puffs air out. I destroyed Helen. Absolutely destroyed. 70-2. We played pinball, that was fun. There was this great Pulp Fiction pinball game. Then Helen and I beat Carnival before setting back out. We got a couple Diet Cokes because it was so hot out in Pasadena. Pasadena is noticeably hotter than the west side of LA.
It was about 50 degrees Celsius, so we got some sodas.
Then we grabbed some food at this sports bar, Craft by Smoke and Fire or something like that. It was really good. It was actually way too much food, and it was totally reasonably priced. That baked potato was more than I could eat for the whole night, really. But I ate it all, and I was perfectly fine, just like with the hike. Helen's got some color in these videos. She had a takeaway doggy bag, and we set off to the motel and wrapped up for the day. So obviously 28,500 steps isn't exactly killing it, but remember that the vast majority of those steps were literally climbing a mountain, so overall I'd say it was a nice and active day for us. On next week's episode, we're heading up the coast to Ojai, California. Stay tuned for that, you won't regret it. And click the buttons for Pete's sakes. Later.